The following feature has been classified MA for moderately amusing. It contains politically incorrect material, some sexist remarks, and material that may be considered offensive by some. The author's intention is not to offend any person. Anybody with high blood pressure, pregnancy, or lacking a sense of humour should view this feature at their own risk. Good evening and welcome back to Hot Topic. Well, on the show today, we've never been afraid to tackle the pressing issues head on. And today's no exception. We have an outstanding panel joining us today. Joining me in the studio to my left is Senior Lecturer in Socioeconomics at the University of Darra, Professor Trevor Winchester. Trevor, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, James.
Joining me also in the studio is Assistant Editor and Chief Political Commentator for the Business Review, Brian Krause. Welcome, Brian.
Pleasure to be here.
In our Adelaide studio, we're joined by Independent Senator, best-selling author and Ethics Counsellor, Ms. Kate Stonehouse. Thank you for your time, Kate.
Always a pleasure, James.
And finally, also on the studio satellite from our Melbourne studio, ordained minister and long-time advocate of the Family Now movement, the Right Honourable Reverend Christopher Hitchens. Welcome, Chris.
Good to be here, James.
Well, it's election year and typically we're hearing a lot of talk about the need for downward pressure on interest rates, exuberant expenditure, possible tax hikes, a recent fall in gross domestic products or GDP, the dollar's taken a pounding, and there's renewed talk of a double dip recession. One of the first questions I'd like to put to the panel and bring in Trevor is, what do you think the best way is for me to pick up hot chicks on the weekend, Trevor?
Sorry?
Yes, on the weekend.
No, look, I'm not sure I understand where this is going.
Excuse me, can I just jump in here for a second?
Yes, please. I wish someone would.
I think perhaps where my esteemed colleague is having troubles coming to terms with the question lies in the classification. Are we talking hotties or absolute mingers?
Stunners, I believe, was implied in the first question.
If I may be so bold, at this point I'd be quite interested to hear what our female panellist has to say about this.
What this situation demands is a directly honest appraisal of the issue, and quite frankly, Trevor refuses to acknowledge this. Alcohol.
I beg your pardon?
Alcohol. Tried and true. Ply those fillies with grog, James. Recent studies have shown that as the level of intoxication, as in these situations, increases, so does your chances of scoring.
I see. Good.
I bought a graph where this is amply demonstrated.
Is this some sort of joke? Seriously?
Minister, you've been quiet throughout much of this whole debate so far.
Yes, thank you, James. I suppose my viewpoint is governed a bit more by doctrine than some of our other guests here tonight, and I suppose that makes me the hardline conservative amongst us. And naturally, as such, I find Miss Stonehouse's comments about alcohol quite the abomination. Disgusting, in fact. Terrible.
Thank you, Minister. A voice of reason from an unfamiliar ally. Thank you.
Which, James, is why I tend to favour the internet whenever I'm on the game. Independent studies have shown, in fact, over the last 4 years that matchmaking has had an increase of over 40% via the net, and I have happened to bring along this evening a bar chart which proves this beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Listen, all of you, have you lost your minds?
Steady on there, Trev.
Dearie me, very terse.
Well then, I think we now all know someone who isn't getting any on the weekend.
Listen to me, you fruitcakes. I've driven a long way to be here. I've put off a number of other engagements to come and be at this so-called experts forum on what I see as now how to get some. Are you kidding me? I've lectured at Cambridge. I've studied at some of the finest educational institutions in the world. I'm considered one of the leading minds on this subject. And, thank you, I drive a BMW. I get more action than all you guys put together.
No way.
As if.
Oh, is it a convertible?
Well, there you have it. That's all we have time for this week. Next week, I'll be grilling some of the nation's finest GPs and asking the question, what's this rash under my arm? And will fresh air take away the smell? We'll see you all again next week. Until then,
James Barrington.